Hey there, welcome again to our channel. This is the Green Farm team as always. My name is Rukia Hamis and I'll be taking the team today through topic. So today we have a very huge delight for you. You're gonna know more about us, our culture, and why actually we're inspired to do environmental work. And this stems really deep to just first either it's culture, religion, and stuff like that. And you get to hear from the rest of the team. So I'll pass it over to Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca, how are you doing? Yeah.
Hey everyone. Well, she's already said my name. Hopefully you know our names by now. If you do, thumbs up to you. So thumbs up to our video as well. So I am from the Luo culture. Can I say the Luo nation? I believe that is how we're supposed to be addressed because everyone has their own nation, their own niche where you're born, and that that influences us a lot in terms of our interactions as people and as as we interact with the environment. So being someone from the lakeside, of course, people have this thing that if you're from the lakeside, you know how to swim. Well, this sister over here, that really didn't form part of my culture, like now knowing how to swim in terms of activities, because fortunately or unfortunately, I have traveled along the way from childhood. I didn't really stay in the lakeside, but we used to visit that very often. So I would say my culture mostly would be from how I interacted, what I used to see my parents doing, and also what I used to see from my friends. And being a Christian also, which I believe is also a culture, kind of influenced that. Because going back to the family, my mom had a kitchen garden just behind our backyard. And back in the day, kitchen gardens were big because that would supplement a lot of what we ate. So I remember when I was growing up, my mom allocated like a 30 by 30 centimeter plot for me and gave me like a few seeds to grow. And whenever she planted her skumas at scales or she planted her spinach, she would give me like a 30, very tiny. But that time when I was in my class 1 nursery, it really meant a lot. And just seeing that plant growing and just coming up really, I think, were the seeds that were planted in me that made me to be so passionate about the environment, well, in the urban setup. And whenever I went back home, I would be fascinated by, home meaning shags. For those who are watching home, we don't call our Nairobi our Nairobi houses home per se. Our homes are like our shagos or our ancestral homes. So whenever I would go there, I would get so excited seeing, the farms from my grandma. We lived in a place, we still do live in a place that is not so much affected by urbanization. So we still get to see wild animals, monkeys come and eat our mangoes, and that really gave me that impression to be very passionate about the environment and just seeing how we can nurture it. And from nurturing it, we get our food. From nurturing it, you get that peace of mind and just being in a fresh place. So that impressed me, one. From my Christian culture, I think in a nutshell, it would be stewardship, because that was really inculcated in me through the Bible studies you would have. And of course, my mom was very strict. Like when you're saying you're doing this, you have to do it. So when you say you're going to take care of a tree, please, you better take care of that tree and it should not dry up. Not that she would put any restrictions on us, but it kind of helped me to be very disciplined. And now going into primary school, I did a lot of now nurturing, even tree planting in our primary school. So that's in a nutshell for me. I don't know if someone had a similar story. If you planted a tree when you were in primary, I think it's a big thing, or nursery. Someone, I don't know, AB?
Yeah, I did not plant a tree per se, but I have a very deep relationship with the soil. No wonder my interest in food security, because, stories of my grandmother, and love her, miss her, may she rest well. She used to love her farm so much, and yeah, you'd actually chase her from the farm, literally, very literally. You should be there the entire day. And, what she used to tell us is, the land feeds us. And this is, after she has snuck behind my parents' back to go, buy us biscuits and sweets, because I was not allowed to eat biscuits and sweets when I was little. And, she would be like, just always remember, this is not the real food. The real food comes from the land. And massive appreciation to my grandmother for instilling this, culture of just loving the ground, because it feeds us. The other thing perhaps would be, just the fact that I was able, for me, I'm a village girl. I grew up around the village, so I literally know how a maize plant looks. Those are the signs of home. Sites of home, it's just like a maize plant. I know how they look, and I know how they grow. I know the seasons. I am born of farmers, so yeah.
Hi. So, like you all know, my name is Kahaso, and I am a Mijikenda, a Girama girl from the village. So yeah, okay, I didn't grow up in the village, but yeah. So I'd say that okay, about planting and farms, it's not, I can't say it was such a big thing in my shags. Yeah, I don't remember like any time like we are going to the shamba to plow or to plant, or yeah, things like that. Ours is mostly like wild fruits. You go to the forest looking for like wild fruit and all that. So that's, I mean, you don't want, you always go to shags and like, anytime this fruit, then you just disappear. You just like, oh, hi, you buy, you're going. Because yeah, that was like, I think the highlight of how, let's say, like I understood the importance of like conserving like the environment and all that. Because you still go back, and as in even right now in my age, I'll still go back and I'll be like, there are these fruits. Oh yeah, cool. Any day. Yeah. So yeah, that's my short story.
Thanks, Kahaso. So I guess everyone here has like a different story as to what inspired them in the get-go to be passionate about the environment. For me also, I'm also Mijikenda and also a Chaga because of my dad and my mom. And also religiously, I'm a Muslim. So that has influenced through and through like what I've been so far. Because if I want to speak on the get-go, like how I started being inspired around the environment, I think I'll start with just our home. Like when you come to our home in Mombasa, we live in a very small town. Ka village kadogo tu mahali hapo. And we have in our house, watu sema, they always call us mama majibwa na mama maembe, because we always have like these two huge like mango trees in our compound. So all the kids will always come to just ask for like mangoes and whatnot, and they'll throw stones sometimes and break our windows just because they want mangoes. It's insane. So I've always grown around like trees, like whether it's fruit trees or flowers or whatever. Like my mom has been and my dad have always been big on planting and whatnot. So I always loved spaces like those. So no, I think I just got into, so this is what nature feels like, and like feeling like you need to preserve it even more. So I guess I'm curious, like everyone has like different cultures, like there's Luos, there's Kisii, there's Mijikenda. So I'm curious about superstitions. Like in my culture, in Mijikenda and also in Chaga, we have a superstition around the owls. So if an owl passes through your home, normally it's a bad omen. So you don't really associate seeing an owl in your compound with something good. So in some places you might find that might make people hostile like towards an owl, and maybe rushia mawe or something. So I'm curious if you ladies have such superstitions in your like in your culture and in your homes, and like how does that like change how you view the environment as a whole, whether it's the animal or the food you eat. So Edith, what do you think? How is it in the Kisii culture? Like what superstition like makes things different for you?
Well, I would think, for us, the environment, Kisii is very full of just, hills and valleys and rivers. It's a very beautiful landscape, to be honest. And I don't exactly or necessarily think that there are particular superstitions that make or influence the way the Kisiis react with the environment, except for, some trees should not be, grown around, very near the compound and things like that. But those, really little or tiny things, I would say. Yeah, but I would say the environment really makes us nature loving. I would, if I was to speak for my entire community, I would say we are very nature loving.
Rebecca, what about you?
So,
The Luo
as we have
Nation.
superstitions, we have superstitions, and we also have, like, I think I would say, an honor to the environment. I did a little bit of asking around, and I found out from our community, because, well, I don't want to boast, but we came all the way from the River Nile. So following the River Nile, we tended to be more of hunters and gatherers. And also we tended to be more of pastoralists, animals. So you find like many people, even right now, they would even have they would still have cows, and probably they don't even have cows per se. Now to the juicy part, the superstitions. So there's this praying mantis. I don't know if you've heard of praying mantis and grasshoppers, yeah? So when I was young, when we are kids, when you see urban bontao, when you see a grasshopper or a praying mantis, you'll be like, oh, you're on a doo-doo, and then you run away. Then it happened one time, there was a grasshopper in our house, yeah? So my mom, and we were like, oh, mom, remove the grasshopper, like, if it was a praying mantis, remove it. Then she's like, I'm getting an akuja. You're like, hold up. So this grasshopper is supposed to be an indication that a visitor is coming, or if you see a praying mantis. And in that way, be like, to say, like, if you chase it out, like, even not even my mom, even our relatives, if you chase it, or if you kill it, that means that you don't want the guest who's coming. So sometimes, it's a really huge grasshopper. It's just big. You don't want it in your face, but because you don't want to chase your neighbor, your humble self will be like, okay, let it just stay until. So you will be waiting outside, like, okay, so who's coming? And as a kid, if a visitor is coming, they'll come with goodies. They'll be probably coming with things that your mom does not want you to eat. So that would really build the anticipation in terms of what's a superstition. But I think in a way it kind of helped us to preserve. If you look at it in the long term, help us preserve certain insects that were considered to be like a really good treasure to have around in the home. So yeah, that's just what I can mention. We have so many other, but maybe Kahaso, kama kuna mnyama mlikuwa mnaeka, any animal that you would keep or a plant because you are hoping something good would happen from home.
We also have a superstition like
Rebecca,
that.
you must. Sorry, Kahaso. Rebecca, you must tell us what is the difference between a praying mantis, a grasshopper, and a locust. You have to tell us. 5 marks.
I'll send pictures. Maybe when we do the editing, we will show. The praying mantis has like a hook over there. It's praying, so it's called praying because it's. But anyway, back to our editor will help us to put the right pictures for praying mantis. So there's the praying mantis. Grasshoppers are tiny. Locusts tend to be bigger, and they are more predators, so they move in herds, and it's very rare to see a locust. But grasshoppers are very common in our farms and even in our urban settings.
We also have similar theory, let me say, to yours, but ours involves a bird. Like, when we were in Shags, we used to be told, like, a visitor is coming because a certain bird has made a certain sound. So yeah, there's that. But another one is, if a bird like puts up a nest in your house, people tend to believe like it's a blessing. You shouldn't like remove it. Yeah, so yeah, that's one of the superstitions we have in our culture.
Thank you, Kahaso. I'm seeing a lot of superstitions around animals, and I liked how, and also trees, like planting several trees around the house could be either good or bad for you. Um, I know, like, if we speak around animals, I think I told this story to Rebecca and the team before, around like in Islam, the story of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So that means peace be upon him. So what happened is there was this holy war happening, and he hid in a cave. So when he hid in the cave, a spider came and wove like the web on the at the entrance of the cave. So when the enemies were passing, when wakifika hapo, they're like, haiwezi kuwa mtu amepita hapa, like there can't be someone who passed through here because the web is intact. So since then, it's like it's not like allowed to hurt like a spider. Ukiona spider unaenda kuipiga na kiatu. So that has always made me feel like very protective around spiders, so growing up. So even if no matter how big it is, I'm like, dude, we need to find a way to just like keep it out but not hurt it somehow. And people always think I'm crazy, but I guess the cost of being a tree hugger. What can I say? But this is really cool. I think us and also our audience is getting to know us even better in terms of just why are we so stuck on stupid when it comes to the environment. And it shows that everyone here is that there's always an intrinsic value that comes with your culture, where you're born, where you're raised, the people around you that influences what you value the most. And this is like a really nice conversation. I'd like to know if anyone else wants to bring up something else, maybe Rebecca or Kahaso, anything else that's popped up that you'd like to share with our audience at the moment. I see Kahaso shook her head like a no. Maybe Rebecca.
I think the other thing that happened when it comes to culture, we realized being in an urban setting, because of the different communities that stay in an urban setting, we tend, most of the time we would know like what other communities are talking about in the environment, even some quotes like you'd even know something about like around the Kikuyus because we stayed a lot with them. And in a way, like I would say like being an urban girl or sorts, it kind of helped me to really appreciate the different cultures people have. And not just in hindsight, I realized that even like when we have conversations and having different people on board, you realize like, oh, by the way, so and so is, this is how they perceive the environment. So maybe that's why they are like this. Like the other day we were having a discussion with my folks. We were saying like it's really hard for us to get like people who take care of the farm. And I was telling my dad, but that's kind of unfair to expect them to take care of the farm. And yet, maybe it's that they're going back to their roots. Naturally, we were hunters and gatherers, and you're expecting a hunter and a gatherer to stay in one stationary place and stay and look after a farm. And they're used to, moving about and getting their food that way. And, like when it comes to like even the kind of people, our farm managers, we tend to get them from different communities. Because in Luo Nyanza, many of the people around, the young men, do not see that as a value. So you see how culture kind of is in tune with even the source of livelihood that people take or the kind of path they take in profession. So you might be wondering, oh, wow, why so and so doesn't want to stay in the farm, but maybe they just, they're going after their calling, So yeah, maybe that's what I would add.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, so yeah. Thanks, Becky, for that. For me, I think just as a last remark, as a Christian, and even what really fascinated me, even in other people's cultures, is that, through the traditional stories, it would always be like, our God was found in the mountain, or our God was found closer to the trees. For me, I feel like nature is really what helps you or makes you understand God. When I was young and growing up, we had lots of these hikes and camps with my friends, and I think those are the places where I really helped me conceive the ideas or the things that I believe in. I feel like when you go out to nature, you really sort of have a big understanding of yourself, of God, of the environment and the people around you. And yeah, so I would say that really also firmed up my belief about conservation and the environment.
Thank you, Edith. That's so inspirational and so beautiful. I'm like thinking about reviving that rose plant that died at the back of my balcony. That's really beautiful, and it shows how similar. Like, it doesn't matter which religion or culture you come from. Like, the environment is the one constant around all of us, which is super amazing. Rebecca, did you have something else?
Yeah, Edith has just reminded when she started talking about, you know, the how like the Christian value, how it adds. For me, I would say music. There's this one song our music teacher back in, I think, class 5 used to make us sing. It's a hymn. It says, "All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small." She would make us sing that thing, and you know, if you're a kiddo, singing a hymn is not a joke. So when I now as an adult, when I was trying to internalize the entire hymn, it made me see how the hymn was just talking about appreciating nature, like an entire song appreciating just nature, and not only just appreciating nature, but in the grander scheme, we know that God is in control of all these things that we see, that we appreciate. So I'd add, like, even like then in the choice of music, you know, making us as children, we were probably 10 years and we were singing a song and it didn't even make any sense. But to date, I know that song word per word. When I start thinking about the birds, you know, you start thinking about the mountains, you start thinking about, like, our mountain in Siaya is called Gotabiero. There's Gotabiero, there's the Kitmikai, the rocks there. And when I sing that song, those are the things, that the images that come to play. And of course, you know, just loving to be out there and being able to see those things that God has created.
Thank you so much for that, Rebecca. And yeah, maybe one day we'll let you sing that song for us in full and then post it on our YouTube page. So our audience can really hear that song and get inspired. I don't know that song. I'd really like to hear it from Kahaso. You're quiet. Could you say one last thing to our family, our green family who's watching us there?
I mean, one way or another, the environment plays a huge role to everyone, even the smallest thing. So yeah, you might think like it's such a small thing, but it in the cycle it plays a big role. And if you have any superstition, any story you want to tell us about your culture, feel free to comment down. And yeah, we are here to listen also. So yeah, thanks.
Cool. And with that, would like to end our video. Like Kahaso said, please comment below. We'll put the links to our social media. We'll be running a campaign around just like sharing all those stories around like indigenous knowledge and culture and how that shapes us all and the environment. So just keep tabs on us on our social media, like, share with a friend, tell them to comment. And yeah, thank you so much for the support. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.